already feeling like a lot of miracles are occurring in my life.
I am a grandmother, and I became a grandmother at 36 years old. Sacredly unhinged. It is being a truth seeker, truth teller, soul led, unhinged in the way of I walk in my truth.
If one person, one of you listening right now, is uplifted, inspired, encouraged in any positive way, then we are absolutely winning. And this is why we're here. If you've been misunderstood, you're on the path to authenticity.
Yes, 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 yes. I say, good. Peace out, homie, because when we clear out the people that aren't for us, it creates space for those that are.
Get ready to rise above the noise and unlock your true potential. Welcome to Unapologetic Uplift, the podcast that's all about keeping it real and helping you live your best life. Buckle up. Get ready to learn, grow, and evolve with us on Unapologetic Uplift. New episodes released weekly.
Hello, welcome to Unapologetic Uplift. I'm your host, Kim Staples, joined by my beautiful co-host, the one and only Ianthe Mauro. Welcome, my friend.
You are the one and only Kim Staples. And that leads me to what I wanted to talk about today. First, I haven't done this, but welcome to season 2, everyone. I'm going to light a candle. I'm lighting a candle and setting some energy here. If you are
Nice.
watching this in at all real time, that means that we are at the beginning of a new calendar year of the Gregorian calendar 2026. And already feeling like a lot of miracles are occurring in my life already as the energy has shifted. And I always want to resist and say, I'm not making a New Year's resolution. I'm not creating that situation for myself that gives me these tight parameters in which to think about my life. Instead, I come up with a theme that I try to make one word. And so I'll share with you all my word, and you're all welcome to have it and to have your own word. That the word, and I'm going to say it out loud as I lit this beautiful 3-wick candle. And my word this year is delight. And the reason my word is delight is that why wouldn't it be? With all of the hardships that my family went through in 2025, and of course before that, and hardships, we can list them all, right? But instead, what I'm asking to bring in is delight. I'm asking to let my eyes, let my ears, let my heart witness delight around me every day and take it in to my body. And may that be for you too.
And so it is.
So Kim, who are you? I just want you to tell everyone who you are because we have not done a true introduction of who we are since the very first episode. I don't even know what date that was, but it's been a while. Who are you?
Well, who am I? I am Kim Staples. I am that sacredly unhinged mom. I am a truth seeker, a mom, a lolly, a daughter, a sister, a wife, a friend, mentor. I am a lot of things, so it's really hard to just narrow it down to one. I am a highly sensitive, intuitive, soul-led human.
You are. I can say that you are. And I have a couple of questions, as I often do. For clarity, what is a lolly, first of all, for those of us in the United States? I mean, I know I'm being a little cheeky, but what's a lolly?
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with culture or geography or anything like that. I am a grandmother, and I became a grandmother at 36 years old. So I didn't want to be called grandma because it feels old and frumpy to me. So I was like, oh, what is this? What is she going to call me? And I came up with Lolly, and my husband is Pop. So we're Lollipop.
Oh, that's so cute. I was going to ask if it had a lollipop reference, but that is so cute. Okay, so now we all know that. The other one I want to ask you is, can you let us know what sacredly unhinged mom refers to? What does that mean?
Yeah. So sacredly unhinged, it is being a truth seeker, truth teller, soul led, unhinged in the way, not unhinged like, oh my God, I'm psychotic and don't know what's going on, but unhinged in the way of I walk in my truth, regardless of how it makes anybody feel. It is being the type of person that prioritizes myself, my healing, my regulation. And for a large portion of my life, I feared being crazy or being perceived as being crazy because I am highly sensitive, highly intuitive, and I would even go as far as saying highly woo-woo in all the best ways. I was called crazy a lot by my ex-husband for being highly emotional, highly sensitive. And I think a lot of women fall into this trap of fearing that people are going to think you're unhinged and fucking crazy. So rather than living in fear of what other people think, I am just fully owning being unhinged and zero
Whew.
fucks given.
Oh, it's so good. And you know what? I have so many things that flashed through my mind as you were speaking, Kim. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being my partner in Unapologetic Uplift. Thank you for being my friend and sister and chosen sister in this world. All of the things that you are things that I lean into and love and respect so highly that I'm just so grateful that we get to do this together. And I thought of a couple of things. One is, burn her, she's a witch. You know, throughout history, women have been called crazy when we are aware and open to the power that exists by virtue of our femininity, just by being who we are. And
Yes.
that is throughout history. And that changes. What is considered crazy changes throughout history. And what I've noticed is there's now a change again, a shift again. Women who are saying and claiming that they have faith in a higher power are now being called, or spirituality in general, are now being called crazy and are having to say, I don't care. I'm saying it anyway. I believe in something. And that's wild to me to watch, because at other times it would have been, that's not wild at all. And so as it shifts, I think that we're always called upon, women are always called upon to be real with what is true for us and what is powerful, and share it regardless of how it could land on other people if it's really true for you. And I hope that you and I are an example of this. I think that we are. I want our podcast to be an example of this. I want Unapologetic Uplift to continue. We always say this. If one person, one of you listening right now, is uplifted, inspired, encouraged in any positive way, then we are absolutely winning. And this is why we're here. The other thing that I thought of when you were speaking is, and here's my brain, everyone. I'm listening and getting information at the same time. It's when I say there's a part of me that goes, is she listening to Kim, or is she just thinking what she's going to say next? I absolutely am listening to everything that you say. And it is inspiring me, because when I'm actually hearing with my whole body, I'm inspired, and then it brings ideas. So I'm not pre-thinking, oh, as soon as Kim is finished, I'm going to say all this. I have a diatribe and I'm going to give you a monologue. I'm not doing that. I promise you, I'm listening with my whole heart and body. And
I
what
feel
came
that.
up, thank you. And one of the things that came up, I had to quickly jot down because I wanted to be in listening and not have to hold it in my head. That's why I write things down on little pieces of paper, people. And this one was, if you've, can I read my writing? This is great. If you've been misunderstood, you're on the path to authenticity.
Yes, 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 yes. And that I think is one of the biggest keys to being able to walk in your truth and authenticity is getting to be okay getting to be comfortable. And I even say, getting off on being misunderstood and people thinking you're unhinged and fucking crazy. There's
Exactly.
a,
I think that's a great sign that you're on the right path. Again, that's the sign that you're being authentic. If people are going, what is she? What? How? Who does she think she is? What is going on here?
yeah, more of that, please.
That's a
And
glimmer, a green flag.
for a large portion of my life, I really, really was uncomfortable with being misunderstood. And I always felt like I owed people an explanation or I needed somebody's permission to do things that were not considered to be the traditional way of doing things, which now seems absolutely insane when I look at who I am today and the way that I live my life. But I say that because if you are one of those people that cares very much what other people think, and it's not to say that I don't care at all what other people think. Of course, I want to be loved and I want people to accept me for who I am. But I am also totally okay with them not getting me. I am not meant to fit in and for everybody to understand me. That's just something that I've had to come to terms with and accept. But you can too. Wherever you are, you deserve to be yourself. You deserve to be able to show up in your truth. And what's uncomfortable about that is there's going to be people that you repel and that don't like it, even people that like you now. And we can fear, oh, they're not going to like me. They're not going to want to be friends with me. They're not going to want to be around me. And I say, good. Peace out, homie, because when we clear out the people that aren't for us, it creates space for those that are. And when we are walking in our truth and super authentic, we become magnetic to the people that are in alignment with us. Those soul aligned connections are able to fall in. So please, please, please give me that.
And that is who you are, Kim. That is a perfect introduction for who you are. And you're an example of that. And both of us, I can say for both of us, we are always perfectly imperfect. We are working it out in front of you. Just as we share these thoughts and ideas and encouragement, we're also sometimes falling back into old habits as healing isn't linear. And we sometimes need, and that's where we need each other. That's why I need you, Kim. There are many times when I will hear you in my mind if I can't reach you immediately and I know what you would say. It's like, what would Kim do? What would Kim say? And it helps me to get back into alignment if I've been pulled into a situation where I'm not trusting my gut or where, right? Or where I'm feeling that I'm so tender and hurt that in a moment that I can't trust myself in that moment. And that's where I run to you and often for real, and we text each other or call each other. But sometimes it's just knowing that you're there as my friend. And that's the other thing that
Aw,
thank
my
you. And that's
heart.
the other, well, that's the other thing that I really, really want to share and get. Yeah, it makes me emotional too. It's totally heart centered. This is what it looks like, everyone. You have that person. You have many friends in your life, or maybe you feel like you don't have any friends in your life, but you have people that you interact with for different reasons. And my hope for everyone listening is there is at least one person in that group of people that you interact with that you're safe enough to go to, even when you really don't like your behavior and you're really not okay with yourself. And you can
Yeah.
go to that person because you know you won't be judged, but they're going to help you remember your power, and they're going to help you with mirroring your beauty when you feel ugly. And it's very important. This world is difficult and it's complicated, and there's so much that's outside of our control. So when you find that person, and for me, you're one of those people. I'm very fortunate because I have more than one in my life that I feel I can do that with.
Yeah.
That to me is the highest form of self-care and wealth that you could possibly have, because you're not going to get lost and you're going to be held accountable to your highest and best. So let this let Unapologetic Uplift, let Kim and I be that for you if you don't have it right now in your immediate space. And as soon as you get used to the feeling of having someone like us in your life who's speaking to you in a way that's coming from love and coming from a pure place of truly wanting you to be your best, then you're going to start attracting that in your real circles. I promise you that.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that so much. And now tell us more about who you are, please.
Hi. My name is Ianthe. I was given that name at birth. My parents found it in a poem. I'm often asked follow-up questions to my name, so I'll just let you know that there was a poem my parents loved called Queen Mab by Percy Shelley, and Shelley is a known poet and very famous, and his wife, just for fun, is Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein. So those of you who hadn't heard of Percy Shelley would have probably heard of Frankenstein, and that's his wife, Mary. They had a daughter named Ianthe. She sadly died very young, teenager, but they loved her, of course, and their idea for her was to name her something that was very sacred and had a meaning. And so Ianthe means the goddess of feminine virtues and the violet flower. So my favorite color's always been purple. That's something about me. Not everyone knows because I don't wear the color that often, but it is the color that resonates highest for me when I'm looking at the color spectrum. That's the color I'm always drawn to. Who am I? I am a creative muse. That's the title that I come to time and time again because it encapsulates the most of who I am. And what is that? It means that I see things creatively. I welcome problems because I want the opportunity to solve things in a creative way. It lights me up. It gets me very excited. Speaking of light, I'm also a candle queen. I've been making and designing candles for myself and my brand and others since 2009, and I am absolutely addicted unapologetically to candles and lighting candles for every reason whatsoever. That's why I lit one at the beginning of this. I'm going to show you once again here, visual for those of you watching us on YouTube. I'll tell you a recent thing about me that made me really excited is one of our friends who was on our podcast. Her name is Tressa Yanakawa. And she said recently to me, "You are a whimsy warrior." And it stopped me and I went, I want to be a whimsy warrior, whatever that means. And here's what it means to me and why I was so flattered by that. I was so honored to have that title and I want to wear it. And here's why. Whimsy to me means that I'm not following all the rules, that I don't care about what other people think, and that I want delight. I'm welcoming delight, which is my word for 2026. Whimsy feels delightful. It feels easy. It feels inspirational and creative for sure. So, and it's certainly not what it's not is it's not serious and it's not hard and it's not all of the, and it feels so good. So whimsy warrior, meaning I am going to go to battle for you to find your whimsy. And how amazing is that? So I am an advocate for people to find whimsy and delight in their life. I'm an advocate for uplifting people's energy, one person, one interaction at a time. I am a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. I was one of those little kids that would take care of the younger babies at the party. When I was 5, I would take care of the baby because I wanted to be a mom. And I finally got to be a mom. I had a very difficult time getting there, but I always knew I would be. And I have maternal energy to share that goes beyond just the children that came out of my womb. I love sharing maternal energy. It's very accessible to me and I want to give it. So I want to be a nurturing, mothering force to anyone that wants to receive that. I'm totally a lover. Like I absolutely love love. I love love stories. I love believing in love. I love believing in second chances, third chances, fourth chances, and infinity chances for finding love and loving yourself first so that you can really call that great love into your body, into your life.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. That's me. I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here with us.
That is totally you. The maternal energy runs so strong through you. I'm so glad you mentioned that because it's so true. And You are super whimsical. I can just see you with little wings. Like this
Yes, what I'm
fairy.
wearing today is slightly whimsical too. The long, fluffy sleeve of whimsy.
You and everything about you. You are one of my nearest and dearest friends, and I am just so grateful for you and all of your maternal, whimsical, creative energy.
Oh, thank you so much, Kim. And for those of you wondering, how do we find a friend like this? We found each other on an app online in a social audio room. You can find them. You can find your people anywhere. They're there right now for you. And we
Yeah,
also,
just be
I also,
yourself.
yes, and it sounds so simple. How can I be myself, Kim? How can I be myself? Who am I even? And even if you're interested in asking yourself that question, you're already being yourself.
Yeah, and personally, I have lost touch with myself. I had a very extensive journey back to myself. So if you feel like you don't know who you are, that's okay too. It's one day, one step at a time. And it just starts with getting really honest with yourself, meeting yourself where you are, and doing so with compassion. We can be so hard on ourselves, especially when there are things that we want to change. And spoiler alert, being hard on yourself doesn't change anything. It actually will just magnify more of what you don't want. So, for any type of sustainable change to take place, there needs to be acceptance, and do so with kindness and compassion, because it isn't going to get you anywhere any further ahead to be unkind to yourself.
I learned 4 words that changed my life, Kim, and it's exactly what you're talking about. And here are the 4 words. Get ready, everyone. Don't make yourself wrong.
Yeah,
It's that
exactly.
really, truly, that's it. I mean, that's so simple. Don't make yourself wrong, because you're going to have plenty of people that make you wrong. Why would you do that to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
forgive yourself. Forgive it. You're imperfect. Again, perfectly imperfect is what we're all going for here, I hope. You are imperfect. You're going to get it wrong. Don't make yourself wrong for getting it wrong. This is part of life. We're falling forward all the time into new versions of ourselves. And sometimes we land on our feet, and other times we fall and we smack our face right into the cobblestone. So don't make yourself wrong. There's enough out there to make you wrong. Be your best. Be your best friend. Be your best friend first, as corny as that sounds. And it's not always easy, because we are our harshest critics. I am so aware of that. And I've been so good at that. I've been like the most amazing critical person for myself in my life. And like you said, Kim, the spoiler alert part, it didn't help me, and it didn't make me better. And it didn't truncate or close the gaps on my healing any faster. In fact, it probably kept me from a lot of healing moments, because I was just making myself wrong. So please, let's dissolve that with a sound effect.
Yeah, and I can look back because I used to have a whole lot. I used to be really hard on myself, and I had primarily negative self-talk. I wasn't nice to myself. And when you stop, if you're in the situation, I want you to stop right now and just ask yourself, how would I respond if somebody else was talking to me like this? You'd
Or
probably tell
even go
them to
further.
shut the
How
fuck
about if
up.
Kim? Yeah, I was going to say, what if Kim or Ianthe spoke to you that way, the way you're speaking to yourself in your head? How would we ever, first of all, we would never do that. So don't do that.
Yeah, and if you do have anybody that talks to you that way, get rid of them too, please.
Yeah. And it's different than people will say, well, I want the brutal honesty. Okay. Brutal honesty, though, doesn't have to make you wrong and beat you down.
Punish you. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, it's not punishing. It's actually a really good
exactly.
word,
It's
Kim.
constructive criticism. And
Yeah,
I'm
like
all
knock it
for
off.
that.
Yeah, and saying knock it off, and saying knock it off to yourself is fine. That's different. That's not punishing. That is a boundary. That's saying I'm not going to tolerate. I'm done tolerating this negative self-talk. I'm done tolerating negative talk from others. That's a beautiful boundary to have. And risk the loneliness that you fear comes from cutting those people off that are not healthy for you. I'll say that again. Risk the loneliness that you fear comes from cutting people off that are not kind to you or not helpful, not nourishing. And think about, it can be this simple. Is this a taker or is this a giver? And you're going to know. Now, you answer this. If the answer is it's a taker, do you want that person in your life? Are you okay with that? Is that okay? It isn't for me.
No, absolutely not. Oh, I feel lots of energy shifting through me right now. I'm yawning and burping, just so everybody knows.
So tell us what that means. What does that mean when that happens to you and you get physiological stuff coming up?
Yeah, just energy shifting. I can feel it because I'm so in tune with my bodies and energy. I can literally feel the energy moving through me. And then there are physical symptoms that often come along with that, like yawning and burping, and sometimes more intense symptoms, depending on the type of energy moving through you and what you're doing. Specifically with energy work, which we're not doing right now. This conversation is shifting things, I guess. I would love if you shared if you're up for it, some of the miracles that have been happening for you recently.
Okay, I will. I am up for it. Here we go. I love sharing miracles, and it's something that it's accessible to everyone. Miracles are happening all the time. We may not see them. When you're in alignment with taking action towards something that is very inspired, that is for your highest and best, I think that then the miracles start to show up even more and you're able to see them. So here's what's happened for me. Went through one of the most horrific, traumatic 2025, so much loss and so much trauma. And I was looking at the calendar's changing. It's going to be 2026. And I don't want to set myself up like, and this is going to be my best year ever and everything's going to be better. But there was a part of me that did feel that and want that. I can't help myself, right? The whimsy in me wants that sparkle to be there. So I was thinking that. And meanwhile, I was also having to make some very hard decisions. We had purchased raw land in the hopes of, well, the dream was we're going to purchase this raw land of just forest of trees, and we're going to build a very modest but completely to our specifications home that will sustain us for the rest of our lives and be a welcoming place for everyone we love. And we will have all these beautiful regenerative practices on the land itself, be able to share that with the world. And we got a few contractors in a row giving us the hard numbers for what it would cost to build even the most modest structure. And every time it came back, the numbers were too high. And we had to decide, like, look at ourselves and say, are we willing to have no life and constant stress to make this happen? And we said, no, we're not. And was it a loss? It could have been seen as a loss. There was a moment when I thought, wait. We're willing to give up this land. I started crying because it was actually my children. When I went to show them the land, they were visiting us, and I drove out there to show them. And they both said their reaction to the land was, oh, Mom, this is way too much work. What are you thinking? And I started crying because they didn't see the vision that I saw. But it was also the what am I pretending not to know that was being revealed. It was the shadow that I had been thinking, oh my gosh, this is too much to take on. How dare I? And what am I thinking? And I'm scared. And not in the good way where it's motivating, but in the way that I really think that I took this on when I should. So anyway, we made the decision, and here comes the miracle. I promise miracles are coming to this conversation, but I had to set the scene. So we made the decision that day with my son saying that and my daughter agreeing. And I came home to my husband and I told him, the final, I didn't tell him what the kids had said. And this is the miracle part where it starts. I did not tell him what they said or their reaction. I said, Here's the latest quote from the latest contractor who we really liked. And it was higher than the last one. And he looked at it, and out of his mouth came the words, "We need to sell the land." And I had just heard that from my kids. That already became the first miracle. Like I thought, now you could see that as a miracle. You could just see that as coincidence, or you could see that as obvious. I don't care. But my whimsy side says that's the beginning of the miracle. And I said, there was a relief in my body. And I said, yes, let's do it. Now comes in the fear and the practicality. Okay, that land, when we purchased it, it had been on the market for 2.5 years sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, this side of me goes, oh, shoot, we have to sell the land. We have to get out from under this debt. If we're not going to be building on it, we need to free that money up so that we can actually rent something or do something else. Uh-oh, what if it sits there forever? Miracle number one, the real miracle was I told the contractor, I let him know we're not going forward. We're going to sell the land. And he immediately responded with, I'm interested in buying it. Don't put it on the market yet. Okay. Then I happened to see a Facebook post in this group in our county saying, is there anyone with land? And it was almost exactly the acreage we have that is interested in selling in our county, exactly where we are. And so I responded to him with a message. I had 2 offers within 3 days. We accepted the offer because it was exactly what we needed. And we are now in escrow on this land without having ever put it on the market within 48 hours of making the decision. And the family that is going to have this land, they said this is something they prayed on and that they didn't think it was possible. And that when I responded to their message request, they felt that was a miracle. So together we had those miracles. Then on top of that, I know, let's just pause for that for a second. So it all happened. We were meant to hold, here's what I believe now. And I love to make up good stories. Hey, everyone, if you haven't heard me say this before, if you're going to bother making up stories, make it a good one. Here's my story I made up.
Yeah.
We were meant to buy this land, to hold it for this family
Aw.
that needed it. And we did that. So we were the stewards of this land for this family. I'm so excited for them. And I'm so grateful that we have this opportunity. Meanwhile, we have to rent something. Now, the clock is ticking. We have to rent. There is literally, and I'm not kidding you, there are 0 rentals in our area, 0. I posted again in a Facebook group. This is a shout out to Facebook groups, people, when you're active in them. Sometimes they can be extremely useful. And I said, does anyone know of an available rental becoming available in the next blah, 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 right away in this area? And I got a message that this woman said, I have a home that's for sale and I'm willing to take it off the market and rent it to you. And she gave us a price that was less than actually our budget and said, if you are interested, come see it. And so we're seeing it today. That already feels like a miracle. It looks on paper like it's exactly right for us, and it checks all the boxes. We will see. But there you go. There's a few miracles in a row.
Yeah. And it would be so easy for somebody to spiral at any of those points with what's going wrong. I had this dream for this land and now it's all falling apart and, falling into that victim mentality and really spiraling, which no judgment to anybody that this happens to. I've been there. But you have the ability to be able to just look at it as this just isn't meant to be. It is a redirection. When things don't go our way, it's not because the universe, God, creator, source, whatever resonates with you. It is never because they don't want you to have what you want. It is either a redirection because there is something better for you, which I honestly believe is the case here, or it is some sort of a lesson that needs to be learned before you can get to the thing.
It's so true. It's so true.
And when we're
I hope
open to receiving that, right? And the next steps will start to present themselves and we can be intuitively, divinely led to what is meant for us, which we can see happening in real time for you now. It could have gone very differently. You could have clung to the land and continued to accumulate more debt and put yourself into more financial hardship, and could have convinced yourself that nobody's going to buy this land. There's just so many other things that could have happened. You could have hemmed and hawed and waited and lost the opportunity for these buyers and then put it up for sale. The thing is, there's so many things that went right here, all based on the way that you received this and the way that you tapped into your intuition and started to take the necessary steps and not waiting. That's another thing that people tend to do is something happens and then they get these ideas of what they could do, but they freeze because they allow fear to set in.
Oh, thank you for that acknowledgement. And I think, yes, what stands out, if I can be an example to anyone in my story, is the action that I'm willing to take. And there are reasons why there are quotes that last throughout recorded time. And one of them is, ask and you shall receive. I'm sure that's biblical. There's also another biblical one, which is, what is for you will not pass you by. And I think the reason that those still exist and are relevant today is it is about taking action. Ask is an action. You have to take action. It's not just pray silently and continue doing what you're doing in the hopes that things will change. It's being aware first of what is working for you and what isn't, and then asking for what it is that you want or need, and then being open to maybe it not being what you thought necessarily, but being aware and observing what will work. Like, for instance, there was a rental home that came available just before this thing, and I reached out on Facebook. It looked perfect on paper. I was so excited about it. I shared it with you, Kim, right away. And I said, seems like a miracle because it's the only rental available at all in our area. And it just became available, and it's exactly the price range, exactly the amount of rooms, exactly everything that we need. And I reached out and I immediately applied, and they never responded. And then I took a little deeper look and realized they had put it on the market and pulled it off the market multiple times. And I thought, this isn't even real. This must be some kind of a scam. But instead of getting all upset about that and worried, I just went on Facebook and asked, hey, does anyone have a rental coming available in this area? And that's when it all changed. So I didn't focus. I guess my focus wasn't staying with the disappointment. It was going towards what it is I want to still create.
Yeah. And it's just such a beautiful example of not letting fear run the show. We can either look at things through the lens of fear, or we can look at things through the lens of love and acceptance. And for most people, the default is fear, and we want to cling to what we know and what's familiar. If you can get really good at actually not allowing the fear to take over, you're always going to find solutions. And when you're being redirected, you are going to find things that are better suited for you, and more miracles are going to be able to trickle in. But something that I want to ask, because I think that there are people in our audience that are probably wondering, how do I tap into my intuitive faculties? How am I able to be divinely led like this? And just have that sort of faith to know that everything is working out for me. This is happening for me, not to me. Because it's easy for us to sit here and say, look through the lens of love rather than fear, have certainty over doubt. But how does that happen? How are you able to do that?
That's such a great question. It's hard to articulate, but I will tell you that you do a body scan, meaning you just take a moment to imagine. So it's using your imagination, and you imagine light going from the tips of your toes up throughout your entire body to the top of your head. And as it's scanning, that light is going to pick up on spots where maybe your stomach is tight, you're holding your breath. You'll start to notice what's happening in your body. So what I do is I can picture this now is something that I don't have to, it doesn't take me this long. It becomes a split second. when you practice this, it will become so second nature. But at first, if you've never practiced this, it's a way to get in touch with your gut, your intuition, your inner knowing, or your highest and best. So you're imagining this light, and picture the scenario. If you're coming up against a crossroads, like, do I sell the land or do I keep the land? Okay. So then you imagine, you picture yourself, you visualize yourself keeping the land and everything that that entails, while you simultaneously send this light up through your body, and you watch at what happens. You watch. Are your shoulders up to your ears? Is your stomach tight, or is it relaxing? Do you feel like that when you get to the heart space, you feel this beautiful warmth and opening? Do you feel the light goes, does the light just go through you really fast? Okay. Well, then that would be an indication that that's the right choice. But if you have the other, which is things are getting stuck and it's really hard to get that light up through your body, that's not going to be the best choice for you. And your body knows. So that's one way. Another way is, if you believe in God, if you believe in prayer, is praying. Make it not about you. Praying, what is in my highest and best? Asking for signs, being open to seeing signs. And that can be anything. It can mean anything. But really, if that's something that works for you, that is a very powerful tool. And I'm going to give you one not to do. I want to say what not to do here. I'm going to say it. And this could be an unpopular opinion. Please don't go asking for advice from multiple people on something that you're very unclear about until you've done this
Mm,
inner work and prayer first, please. Because it
yeah.
just what it'll do is it turns the volume down on your intuition. Now you're
Yeah.
hearing all the other voices, and we're very susceptible to others' opinions. It's why we're wired that way, to survive. So you go to people, you go to your mom, you go to your spouse, you go to your lover, you go to your best friend, you go to your children, and you ask them. Now all of a sudden, your volume on your own intuitive knowing is way down and you can't hear it as easily. So please don't ask for a bunch of advice, please.
Yeah, that's so perfect. I love that example. When you feel like you can't make a decision without checking with other people, whether that's a business decision, a life decision, a parenting decision, a decision around your well-being. And I know, because I used to do this too. This is a way that we give away our power and we are not tapped into our inner authority. We will feel like we need to get permission from somebody else, or we need to see what so and so would think or do if it were them. And that just absolutely further disconnects you from your intuition. I would just love to I want to give a couple of tips. If you are in this situation where you secretly think that you don't have any spiritual gifts, that you question if your intuition is even real, some ways that you can start to tap back into that is by reconnecting to your body. Like the way that Ianthe described it is absolutely perfect. But if you're frazzled and disconnected, you need to start to learn how to feel the felt senses in your body. And Ianthe, I don't know that she's ever been in this situation, because her intuition was cultivated from a very young age. So that's why she's like, let me just sit and think for a second. Oh, this is what I do. And she can just explain it, right? This isn't something that she necessarily teaches or anything. I just asked her because I know that she'll have a beautiful explanation for it, because she's so in touch with her intuition. So if you are not in touch with your intuition, if you question if it's even real, I've been there. And getting to just be really familiar with your felt senses is just one beautiful way. I just want to give this to you because it will change everything for you. So start with the diaphragmatic breathing. Start to be able to trace your breath into your belly. You can start by just laying flat on your bed and taking in deep breaths, and just at first notice where the breath goes. You're probably going to notice that you're breathing into your chest, because that's how most of us walk around, just breathing shallowly into our chest. But just put your hand just above your navel and try and allow the breath to go there. And just take deep breaths in and out there, feeling it go in there. do this practice once a day. If you do this practice once a day for 3 months, you will absolutely be blown away with how you go from questioning what's real in terms of your intuition to suddenly noticing, oh, I'm getting this hunch. I can feel it here. Because it shows up differently for all of us. For some of us, it's in our gut. For some of us, we get goosebumps. So just getting to know those felt senses and remembering that intuition whispers. This is why we need to be familiar with our felt senses. If it's anxiety or fear, it's going to scream at you. It's going to be repetitive and it's not going to shut the hell up. That's not your intuition. And I loved that example that you gave of the light shining through your body. If something is a yes, that to me sounds like the full body yes, right? It's just flowing through. It should feel good. It should make you feel excited, or it should feel, there should be some ease to it, right? And Ianthe described like that light not being able to move through. And I know for me, if something is like a no, 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 I might feel queasy or like sick in my stomach if it's a big no. Sometimes it's just for me, just as simple as like, nope, not interested in that. And that's it. But that's such a beautiful practice that she described, just being able to sit there and ask, is this right for me? And if it feels good, trusting that. It takes practice. So don't expect tomorrow to have perfect intuition and to have all the answers. But you do have all of the answers that you need in terms of what's best for you inside of you. And just practicing not outsourcing your power and checking in with yourself is such a radical act of self-responsibility and such a great way to take your power back.
Oh, that was so helpful, Kim. And I want to say that you give these tools here on our podcast absolutely free. And you also have paid membership. You also have paid one-on-one work that you do for people. So if you're listening and you want more of what Kim is offering, please reach out to her. She is very responsive. You can DM her on any of the social medias. You can make a comment here anywhere that you're listening or watching our podcast, and one of us will get back to you, and it really will be one of us. We are not outsourcing our tasks to a team right now. You get us directly. I don't know that that will be true forever. I don't know. But right now, you literally have access to us so easily, and we are here to give. It makes us feel in our purpose to be able to give. And so you are invited to ask him for more if this is resonating.
Yes, yes, please. And something that I do is help people reconnect to their intuition and heal so that they can clear their channel. Because a lot of the times, the reason that we can't tap into our intuition is just because we have unresolved trauma and emotions. And if you think of it as a channel clogged, so to speak, or leaking, we often have lots of leaks and we need to heal that and increase our capacity to hold. I am going to be soon launching a group program. I'm basically taking my one-on-one work and turning it into group work. So I am going to have a group program soon, all based around exactly this stuff, healing, so that we can clear the channel and take back our power and own our inner authority. So we are the drivers of our life. So thank you for that little shout out. And if you do use these practices that we share with you guys, we want to know, we want to hear. So please, yes, do reach out, even if not to ask questions or to inquire about working with me. I just want to know, hey, I listened to your podcast and for a month I did that breathing once a day, or I tried that thing that Ianthe suggested about the light going through us. We want to know, there's nothing that inspires us and lights us up more than hearing these things. And it is just confirmation that we should show up and share more tools like this. So if you want us to share more resources like this here on the podcast, give us the feedback, comment, send us a DM. And we're always super, super grateful when you subscribe and share us tell other people about us. That's how we grow, and that is how we're able to show up week after week and share more. So we love you guys,
Yes.
and thank you.
And we have really, really exciting things ahead here for the podcast. So we're just so happy that you're here with us. And thank you for being part of season 2. And thank you, Kim, again, for being such a great friend, co-host. I'm just thrilled to be able to have these conversations with you every week and welcome in whoever it is meant for.
Yeah, exactly. I love you, and I'm grateful to be doing this with you as well. And I think one thing I would love to share with our audience before we wrap this up today is that we are going to start also doing some little mini individual episodes where Ianthe and I just come on by ourselves and do a 3 to 5 minute, maybe even less, little something where we're just sharing some sort of
Whimsical.
wisdom or experience or whimsical,
Delight, a little
experience.
delight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
showing up to try and uplift you in an unapologetically way. And so if there is anything that you would love to receive from this podcast, let us know, and chances are we will deliver.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so with that, we will wrap this show up. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and show us some love. We love and appreciate all of you so much. Thanks for joining us on Unapologetic Uplift. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share the love and tell a friend about us, and give us a review.
Please don't miss a thing. Subscribe to this podcast and explore our sponsors, Objects with Purpose, Eco Luxury Candles, and Divine Activation membership.
Objects with Purpose is more than an eco-luxury candle brand. They are time travel devices in the form of a candle. Light the 3 wicks representing past, present, and future with the validation that you are exactly where you need to be. And if you're ready to raise your level of consciousness and step into your unapologetic, unfiltered, and unbothered era, join the Divine Activation membership at cuttingties.coach/queen. With 3 tiers to choose from, you'll find the perfect fit to support your transformation.
Thank you for your listening and love. We'll see you next Wednesday on Unapologetic Uplift.
Welcome to the Divine Activation membership, a movement for women that are ready to raise their consciousness and step into their unapologetic, unfiltered, and unbothered era.
With your heart, live authentically and become the magnet for all of your soul's desire.
Grow, connect with your heart and body, release unhealthy and unhelpful thought patterns, heal old wounds, create new neural pathways, and reprogram your subconscious with high-value beliefs so you can manifest the life you're meant for.
Ready to take a break from what's holding you back? Visit cuttingties.coach and join the Divine Activation membership today. Hey, unapologetic souls. I'm Ianthe Mauro, founder of Objects with Purpose, candles that touch the soul and the body. I've released a limited edition 3-wick candle collection in 3 fragrances inspired by a time in history. The Time Travel Collection, because scent evokes memory and lighting a candle can truly transport you to your highest self. Anytime.
Ianthe's candles are truly special, clean, safe, even for the body as a solid perfume or massage oil, and smell amazing. But what truly fills her heart is empowering others to be seen in their best light.
In 2020, when the 200 stores that sold my candles across the country closed their doors, I knew it was time to give back. I started guiding others to launch their own candle companies and design candles and fragrances for other brands as a way to share light in a dark time.
So why settle for just any conventional candle? Light the 3 wicks in each Objects with Purpose candle You're supporting handmade in California, small batch, artisanal, eco-luxury, and treating yourself to a memory-evoking evolution. Visit ianthemauro.com to discover your next favorite candle. Let the olfactory experience inspire cherished memories.